Section 20 of the Doctrine and Covenants is related to one of the great days in the history of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And that day is April 6th, 1830. On this day, the church was formally organized again in this dispensation at the Peter Whitmer Sr. Log Home here in Fayette, New York. There was about 60 people or so in attendance that came together to be there on the formal organization of the church on this day, with 6 official persons who filed with the state of New York to have a formal religious society organized. I want you to remember on this day that, as President Hinckley says here, this was a day of commencement, the graduation of Joseph Smith from 10 years of remarkable schooling. Joseph Smith had been, to summarize Elder Holland, schooled and received a PhD from the University of Kolob, and had been prepared as a prophet, seer, and a revelator to once again organize the Lord's authorized church upon the earth. Remember in section 1053, the Lord had promised Joseph back in the summer of 1828 that he would establish his church among them. And the Lord gave them, if you look at section 20 verse 1, you can see that the Lord commanded Joseph Smith to organize the church on a precise day, April 6th, 1830. He says simply in the history of his church, quote, "We had received a commandment to organize the church," end of quote. They gathered together there in the interior of the Peter Whitmer Sr. farmhouse. The meeting was very straightforward. Joseph Smith called the meeting to order. After they prayed, Joseph asked the congregation if they were willing to accept him and Oliver Cowdery as their teachers and spiritual advisors. After a unanimous vote, they then ordained each other. Joseph says this, quote, "I then laid my hands upon Oliver Cowdery and ordained him an elder of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, after which he ordained me also to the office of an elder of said church. We then took bread, blessed it, and brake it with them, also wine, blessed it, and drank it with them," meaning those that were there. "We then laid our hands on each individual member of the church present, that they might receive the gift of the Holy Ghost and be confirmed members of the church of Christ. The Holy Ghost was poured out upon us to a very great degree. Some prophesied, whilst we all praised the Lord and rejoiced exceedingly." After they bore their testimonies and had a testimony meeting, they concluded it. After the meeting, several people get baptized, including, as you can see here, Porter Rockwell, Martin Harris, and Joseph Smith's parents, including Joseph's father. Of this great day, Joseph said, and I love this quote, "We dismissed with the pleasing knowledge that we were now individually members of and acknowledged of God, the Church of Jesus Christ." The evening after the organization of the church and his parents' baptism, Joseph Smith went into the woods to pray alone. He wept like a child. Quote, "His joy seemed to be full," wrote Jesse Knight. "I think he saw the great work he had begun and was desirous to carry it out." What a momentous day and a great day in the history of the church as it was formally organized. Now, how does Section 20 come about in connection with it? Section 20, remember that the Lord had told Oliver Cowdery back in Section 18, verses 3 and 4, that he was to pull together basically some articles of how to organize this church, what offices should be in there, what's required of its members, etc. So Oliver jumps into the Book of Mormon and pulls together a document that becomes called the Articles of the Church of Christ. He mainly pulls it from the Book of Mormon. As a matter of fact, check this out, more than half the document was either a direct quotation or a close paraphrase from the Book of Mormon manuscript, and I got that stat off of the church's Revelations in Context website for Section 20. That document served as the foundational document for its members up until its organization on April 6th. Then on April 10th, according to Stephen Harper, historian Stephen Harper, the Lord will reveal Section 20 of the Doctrine and Covenants and expand upon Oliver's articles that he wrote. Section 20 becomes the foundational constitution of the church, and it becomes known as the Articles and the Covenants of the church, as you can see here in the Joseph Smith Papers, Church Articles and Covenants. Now, I do want you to view it, and one of the best ways to view Section 20 is almost as a constitution. It's a foundational constitution for this church, and you'll see 3 primary divisions within it. The first part, as you study it, look for what are outlined as the foundational events and authority. Second part, it will then talk about some foundational doctrines of the Latter-day Saint Church, of the Lord's restoration. Third, let's look at some foundational ordinances, practices, and applications that it outlines for its members. This great revelation continues to serve and function as the Constitution for our church today, similar to how the original Constitution of the United States continues to serve it. Good luck as you study this section and see how the Latter-day Church is built upon and follows what is outlined in section 20 of the Doctrine and Covenants.